Just got home from the Bob Uecker movie. It was showing in the Marcus Cinema in the town that I live in. And I just want to give some thoughts on that really quick. It was really well done. Now, there was a lot that was left out because you had to squeeze it into a 90-minute movie. There's over 4 hours of footage, or more than 4 hours of footage. 40. I forget how many hours of footage, but there was a ton of footage that they collected during this movie, and they had to shrink it into 90 minutes. They didn't really touch much on the 2025 season except for the season opener. But it was a really well done movie about Bob Uecker and talked about, what made Bob Uecker special and unique. And it was his off the cuff humor. He had such great off the cuff humor that it was hard not to laugh. And as a Brewer fan, for those that follow the Brewers, listen to the Brewers on the radio during Bob Uecker calling the games, you've heard the stories. The cooking the brat and the cigarette lighter, for example. We've all heard those stories. And he was very good with the off the cuff humor and could make a 10-0 blowout entertaining. The Brewers could be down 15-0, and he would still be entertaining to listen to. And I think it did a really good job of talking about that, talking about what made him unique, what made him special, and learning about the playing days of Uecker, the family tragedies that struck Bob Uecker, the Belvederes, the WWE, the Major League, or WWF at the time, Major League, Saturday Night Live, and he nearly worked himself to death from from what I gathered watching it. He almost worked himself to death. He ended up having a heart attack and ended up having open heart surgery not long after that. And after that is where he kind of slowed down and just more focused on Brewers baseball instead of all the national stuff and all that. But if you get a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. I highly encourage it. The Uecker movie, well done. You're going to recognize some voices in it from some local with local Milwaukee sportscasters, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Greg Matzik, for example. You're going to recognize those voices. And I had a hunch, I had a feeling going into the 2024 season that there was something wrong with Uecker. The consensus from people I brought that up with, well, he's 90. Come on now. He's 90 years old. Of course he needs to take more time off. He's old. But there was just something that was strange on how the press release on doing games that year is written. And then with Uecker signing off, Jeff Levering signing off, and then just looking at Christian Yelich in the locker room, looking at his face, looking at his eyes, I knew that Mets game in 2024 was the last time we would ever hear Bob Uecker's voice in the broadcast booth. I didn't know or didn't think it was going to be what ended up happening. But I just knew that we weren't going to see Bob Uecker in the booth anymore after that. And then just kind of reliving that a little bit. They aired the Jeff Levering sign off from that wild card loss to the Mets, and Christian Yelich talking in the locker room after the game, and brought back a lot of emotions that I felt that really hit hard in January of 2025 when his death was announced. Now, the one thing I wish they would have done is when they got to the part announcing that he passed away, and they were airing audio clips of national programs, I wish they would have aired some of the stuff from the local programs. 620 WTMJ 94.5 they did just a remarkable job on covering, Uecker's passing. A lot of comments, insight, conversations about the importance that he had, and instead we had Rick Eisen talking about it. So that's, I guess, the one area I wish we would have had. But overall, if you get a chance to watch it, please check it out. It was a great movie, great documentary, whatever you want to call it. And it's definitely something that's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you laugh and cry at the same time.